Hello and welcome to all. In previous session we have discussed about the refraction of light rays through a rectangular glass block. In that section we have learned about the deviation of light rays from the path of incident ray to the emerging ray. In today section we will discuss about the prism and refraction of light through prism. Prism is a five-sided transparent medium with a triangular cross-section. This is the diagram of a prism in which A, B, C and D, E, F. These two surfaces are triangular surface and three other surfaces are rectangular surface, that is A, D, C, F, B, E, C, F and B, E, D, A. These three surfaces are rectangular and there are two surfaces which are triangular. Triangular surfaces are parallel to each other and the three rectangular surfaces are inclined with each other. Then the reflecting surface. The reflecting surfaces are those surfaces through which the light passes and refracted from its original path. Here, two surfaces are refracting surface, that are B E D A. First surface is this B E D A and second surface is C F D A. These two surfaces are refracting surfaces. Reflecting surfaces are B E D A and C F D A. These two rectangular surfaces are refracting surfaces. Next term is angle of prism. It is the angle between two refracting surface is called angle of prism. Here the angle A, this is the inclination between this surface and this reflect. These two surfaces are refracting surface and this is the angle which separate these two surfaces. Therefore the angle A is the angle of prism. Next term is refracting edge. The line of intersection of two refracting surfaces is known as the refracting edge of the prism. Here the edge AD, the edge AD is the line of intersection or common. This AD surface is common between this surface and this surface. Therefore AD is the, therefore here a refracting edge is AD. AD is refracting edge and section of the prism. Next term is section of the prism. Basically it is the section of the prism perpendicular to the refracting edge. This is the refracting edge AD and perpendicular to this edge. If we cut a section which is perpendicular to AD, then we obtained a triangular portion and that will represent the section of the prism. Here section of the prism is A, B, C. Now we have to understand about the diffraction of light through a prism. Reflection of light through principal section ABC of a prism is shown below. This is the principal plane or principal section of the prism. ABC is the principal section of the prism. Here OP is the incident ray which is reflected at the edge AB at point P, and refracted ray is represented here from PQ. PQ represents the refracted ray, and at point Q the refracted ray is also again refracted, and it emerges as QR. Then here QR is the emergent ray, OP is incident ray, PQ is refracted ray, and QR is the emergent ray. In this diagram we have seen that OP is the incident ray, PQ is refracted ray, and QR is emergent ray. Here I1, this is the I1, it is the incident angle, and this incident ray are reflected at an angle R1. Here R1 is the angle of refraction at face AB. Again PQ is the reflected ray, and at point Q the reflected ray is again refracted or emerged as QR. Here R2 is incident angle for this surface AC at point Q. Here R2 refracted ray PQ strike the face AC at point O at an angle of incidence R2. This is the R2, and QR is the emergent ray, and here I2 is the angle of emergent or emergent angle. Light rays suffers reflection at two surfaces AB and AC in the prism. Here light ray are refracted at 2 points, point P and Q. Point P at surface AB and point Q at surface AC. There is 2 point refraction in the prism takes place. Here the delta 1 represent the deviation of incident angle with line PQ, which is the refracted ray, and Q2 represent the deviation between refracted ray and emergent ray. Delta 1 and delta 2, these are the two deviation. First one, delta 1 is represent the emergent angle between incident ray, this is the incident ray, with the refracted ray, and delta 2 represent the deviation from refracted rays with emergent ray, and total deviation represented by delta. Total deviation is represent the deviation between incident ray, this is the line of incidence, and this is the line of emergence. Then the total deviation represent the deviation from incident ray and emergent ray. Here delta represent the total deviation. Now angle of deviation, the angle between the direction of incident ray and the emergent ray is called angle of deviation. It is represented by delta. From the diagram, if you see the diagram, angle LMQ, angle LMQ, that is delta, will be equal to angle MPQ, angle MPQ plus MQP, that is delta is the angle of outside from this triangle, and this will be equal to delta will be equal to delta 1 plus delta 2, which is written here. Angle LMQ, that is delta, will be equal to angle MPQ, that is delta 1, and MQP, that is delta 2. Then delta will be equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. Angle of incidence and angle of emergence are represented here as angle MPN. Angle MPN, it is the angle of incidence which is equal to I1. This is I1, and this total angle will be equal to I1. Similarly, angle MQN will be equal to I2. This is the opposite angle. This is I2 and this is equal to I2. That is I2 equal to R1 plus delta 2, and I1 equal to R1 plus delta 1. Then we have angle MPQ. Angle MPQ, that is delta 1, is equal to I1 minus R1. Similarly, delta 2, that is MQP, this is the delta 2, which is equal to I2 minus R2. And from this relation, delta equal to delta 1 plus delta 2, from here we can write the value of delta 1 and delta 2 in this equation. Then delta 1 will be equal to I1 minus R2 plus I2 minus R2. Sorry, here delta 1 will be equal to I1 minus R1, that is I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2. If we rearrange this equation, then we can write here I1 plus I2, I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. This is the equation 1. And for the quadrilateral APNQ, that is APNQ, angle APN, that is angle APN, this is the angle total, this is the total angle. We know that this line, this is the line which is perpendicular on this surface, then the total angle will be equal to 360, and at this point this angle, that is APN, will be equal to 90 degree, and it is similar to the angle AQN. Similarly, this angle, this total angle will be equal to 90. And therefore angle PNQ means this angle PNQ plus PAQ, this angle plus this angle will be equal to 180 degree, as we know that the total sum of angle in a rectangle is equal to 360 degree. If this is 90 and this is again 90, then the sum of angle this and this, angle A and angle N will be equal to 180, which is written here. Angle PNQ and angle PAQ will be equal to 180. Therefore, angle PNQ will be equal to 180 minus A. A is the angle of prism. This is the A and it is the angle of prism. Then we can write here angle PNQ will be equal to 180 minus A. This will be the equation number 2. Now in triangle PNQ, PNQ, this triangle PNQ, angle PNQ will be equal to, in this triangle PNQ, angle N, that is angle PNQ, this angle will be equal to 180 minus R1 plus R2, because we know that the total sum of the angles in a triangle will be 180 degree, and this is R1 and this is R2, then this angle will be automatically 180 minus R1 plus R2, which is written here. The angle PNQ equal to 180 minus R1 plus R2. From equation 2 and 3, this and this, from these two equations, this is angle PNQ and this is again angle PNQ. Then we can write here angle A will be equal to R1 plus R2. From these two equations 2 and 3, we got that A, angle of prism, will be equal to R1 plus R2, and this will be the equation number 4. Now from equation 1 and 4, equation 1 is here. Equation 1 is delta equal to I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2, and equation 4 is A equal to R1 plus R2. Then we can put the value of R1 plus R2 equal to A in this equation. Then we got that delta will be equal to I1 plus I2 minus A. Here A will be equal to R1 plus R2 from the equation 4. Then if we rearrange this equation, we can say that delta plus A will be equal to I1 plus I2. That is, I1 plus I2 will be equal to A plus delta. A is the angle of prism, delta is the total deviation, I1 is the incidence angle at this point, and I2 is the emergent angle. I1 is the incident angle and I2 will be the emergent angle. Therefore, the sum of incidence angle and emergent angle will be equal to the angle of prism and the deviation. Now there are some factors which affect the angle of deviation. First one is angle of incidence, second one is material of prism, that is on refractive index, third is angle of prism, and fourth is color or wavelength of light used. Here from this equation we can easily understand that the factors here, delta is related with the incident angle, emergent angle, and the angle of prism. Then these three affect the angle of incidence as well as refractive index. Thank you. This is all about the prism and refraction through a prism.